What's going on, collectors? Welcome to CollectbyBAZ episode 4. I am Jonny. They stupidly gave me the idea to host today. We have our usual guest with us today. Unfortunately, Rick hasn't been able to attend today. The Rogue Collector will not be here. He has some personal matters that he has to attend to, so our thoughts go out to him this week. But we do have, as always, the Batman statue collector himself, Chris.
Hey guys, it's really great to be here. Let's do a great show today.
And we also have our lovely, as always, Ian from the ID Collector series.
What's up, collectors? Ready for episode 4. Let's go get them.
And last but most certainly not least, our Matrix architect himself, Collectro, Richard.
May the episode 4 be with you.
Right. So without further ado, we do have a nice shout out that we want to give out to another one of our CollectbyBAZ members. I'm going to pass it over to Ian so he can talk to you about him.
Well, I want to give a shout out to Group 18 Productions, and it's ran by Sam Gilchrist. Sam Gilchrist has excellent videos, very good backgrounds in his videos. He has a great camera work. The definition of his quality of videos is second to none. He goes over every small detail of the statue. It's really an exciting time to watch his videos, so check him out. Also, too, Sam has a customized Superman 2006 being made. It's the 2006 version of Superman Returns. Phenomenal statue. If you guys get a chance, hit him up on Messenger and see the details, and I'll let him tell you the details on that statue, but unbelievable guy, unbelievable channel, so check him out.
Nice. So is that Superman a complete private commission he's getting done then?
It is a private commission, and there's special artists working on this, including the artists included on the project are going to be the artist from the 2006 Superman Returns movie is actually working on that statue. So it's very interesting. So hit up Sam and Group 18 Productions.
Okay, I'll definitely be keeping my eye out for that one.
Me and Chris want to talk about something quickly.
Yes, absolutely. Right here in my hand I have our press release, and so I'm really excited to announce that we will be having an awards event at the end of this year. It's going to be voted on by the public, so I'm really excited about that. We have actual awards to give out, so that's the first. I've never seen that done before, so I'm really excited about that. It's basically going to be for channels and creatives, so it's not about best statues and things like that. It's more focused on the channel and the creators. We have a special award for a very special person in the community, but we are waiting for the family's blessing, basically. But it's something that we are just very excited about doing, and it's going to mean a lot to us, and I think it's going to mean a lot to the statue collector community. And so we will be making an announcement as we get closer, but it's just something I'm really thrilled about. So basically we want you to tune into the CV show right here on October 23rd for all the details and also some surprises. So again, October 23rd we'll be announcing more details.
We're going to move on to our very first topic, and that is the bubble for the statue collecting community. Whether or not the bubble is going to burst with regards to the market, whether or not it's going to continue to keep raising prices, or whether or not we're going to see a big crash and everything is going to start going downhill with secondary prices on the second-hand market. I know Richard's done a lot of work on trying to get some ideas for this. So we're going to pass straight over to Richard and see what he's got to say.
Excuse if I keep looking down. I've got notes and there's figures and stuff. My brain can take a lot, but it can't take loads of numbers. So, is there a bubble? I think there's a bubble in anything if it gets out of hand. I've not been in this hobby long enough to personally know it's got out of hand from a sort of a personal point of view. So I was 10 years ago, I was collecting, this is what it costs, now it's what it's cost. I can only look at it from a sort of a statistical point of view and look at it from the outside. I hope there isn't, because I've just got into this. I've not just got into this, but about a year ago, and I know that things used to be cheaper, but everything used to be cheaper. I used to be able to get an ice pop for a penny, and now they cost 10. You know what I mean? It's everything's dearer. So I hope there isn't a bubble, but I wanted to just highlight one area where we've seen a ridiculous increase to highlight really how this hobby has really got a bit out of control. So I focused on life-size busts. And what I did is I went back and looked at how much life-size busts cost back all the way back to 2006. All the way to now. So in 2006, the Spider-Man life-size bust by Sideshow Collectibles cost $399. $399 for a life-size bust. Now, in 2011, the next benchmark, the Batman life-size bust that our own statue collector Chris has, cost $679. 2012, the Daredevil cost $599. The Superman cost $679, and the Green Lantern cost $679. So we've already seen nearly a $300 increase in 6 years, which it's not, to be fair, by today's standards, not too bad. And then in 2014 we had the Dark Knight, which cost $689. So in 6 years we had a $300 increase, and then 2 years we had a $10 increase from 2012 to 2014. And then we jump forward to 2017. Hulk is $980. Deadpool is $979, and Vader is $999. Now that is over 11 years, 150% increase from the original Spider-Man to the Vader.
Wow.
It is a 150% increase. It's a 6-year increase of 47%. So from 2012 to 2017, it's a 47% increase. So it's still 50% increase. Now, what does that mean in relation? Well, we don't know. It depends on what people earn. So I actually went back and looked at what people earned from the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and looked at what the average wage was in 2006. Taking in inflation, looking at what the average wage was in 2016, which was the last recorded statistic. The wages have risen since 2006 in dollars 27.28%. So it's a 150% increase on statues and 27% increase on the average wage.
Ouch.
Which is scary. In pounds, the average wage raise was 21.89% since 2006. So it just shows you that things have got a little out of control. They have. And it's not Sideshow's fault, it's not Prime One's fault. But when you talk about Sideshow and why are the prices going up, who do you think pays for all these promo videos? Who do you think pays for Sideshow Live? Who do you think pays for all the artists that they keep adding to their roster? Who do you think pays for the massive sign outside the building? You know what I mean? Who pays for all these licenses? It's us. As they increase their team, as they increase their workload, as they increase the amount. I mean, they said the other week, can anyone remember how many statues they said they had in production? 250? It was around that, wasn't it? It was a big number. Yeah.
Yeah, they got a lot.
That means how many people are actually working on those statues. Imagine how many wages they're paying. So it's increasing because they are increasing the workload. Now, do they need to increase that workload is another thing. And it's not just Sideshow. Prime One we've seen recently with the Wonder Woman on horseback. And I think they actually came out, I think you guys are probably know more about this, they came out and said, apologise for the price pretty much. They apologised for the piece, saying that it kind of got out of control. They didn't understand what the costume was. And there was a big, big palaver at the time. Now, I'm not lower class as we class it as wages. I've got an okay job, my partner's got an okay job, but do you know what? These are still things that I have to consider. These are still things that I have to save up for and pay off. I've still got Thanos to pay off, and he's coming at the end of the year, and I've still got $900 to pay on him. You know what I mean? It's something I have to consider. So I don't think it's going to burst, personally, purely because people will keep finding a way to pay for them. People may go into debt. People may end up taking a second mortgage. People may end up taking 2 jobs. So I think either way, they will find a way to buy stuff. Will people get laid off from these companies? Maybe. They may lose some artists if people stop buying as many statues. If people are buying 1-2 statues a year, they may stop making 250 at once. They may take it down and say, okay, we need to get rid of half the team because we just surely can't keep them up. Got to remember, Sideshow's a business. Prime One's a business. They're in it to make money. They might love it as a passion, but do you know what? They want to make money. And they have to. And do you know why they want to make money? Because they want to keep doing it because it's the passion. So they've got to make money. So
I think that's where you see a change coming in now. Like, if you're an artist and you work on a piece and that piece doesn't sell very well, then you are going to get maybe not necessarily laid off. You might be given a second chance on a smaller project. But if you notice how even Sideshow themselves, they're getting a little bit more daring with what they're doing, because they really need to, whether or not it's about the bubble bursting or whether it's just about all the competition that's going on now. I mean, look at Thanos. They wouldn't have thought to do something like that a couple of years back. Look at their Deadpool premium format. I mean, the amount of hate that got purely because of its price, because of how sort of crazy and over the top they made it. I think that comes down to them feeling that they need to compete. And by having to put in the extra work to make them, it drives prices up. The more prices, the more the price goes up, the more people are going to hate on it, and the more people are going to maybe struggle to afford it.
I mean, I'd love to be one of the collectors who was here 9 years ago, because what do they think? What do they think when they used to pay $200 for a statue of premium format, and now they're paying $800 for a statue? And like I've just told you, the wages haven't risen that much. So what do they think? I mean, I've seen a lot. I mean, Lou, we added Hero Statue Collector Lou today to our Collectorverse, and really thank him for actually being part of it, and all his Immortalizing Stone chats. So go check them out. They've got a new one. I think it's number 174, so they've been going on quite a while. I haven't seen a review from him in a while. I don't think he's actually... I can't remember him buying many statues recently. I think, and we look at Cartel from Hell, I think there's a lot of these older people that were used to the older prices getting out. Because I think they think it's too ridiculous. I mean, what do you think, Chris, about all this? Because you've got a lot of pieces. You buy a lot of pieces.
Well, yeah, and I've been around for a little bit longer. Whenever I first started buying premium formats, they were in the $300 range. And so to see it gradually increase, I can understand at first when it would be like $10 more, $20 more. But now when you're talking about it being hundreds of dollars more, in some case $300 or $400 more than it used to be, that is a hard pill to swallow. And we've talked a lot about prices over the years through this channel and through other chats. It's constantly on the minds of collectors. And like you said, really, all of these companies, they are there to make money. They are a business. And I think a lot of times collectors, we don't always think about, the guy boxing up the statues, the shippers, the painters, and, everything that's involved. All of that costs a lot of money, especially those licenses. Those are very expensive, and those licenses might be charging, as much as they possibly can, because they know that the statue companies will pay it. But regardless, I understand that some of those costs are going to go up. But we've also talked before, too, about how that, really, even though we're disappointed that the prices are going up, people are still buying it, but maybe they're buying less. If you watch my channel, you know that I collect a larger scale. And so instead of buying, 4 or 5 little, smaller scale pieces, I have to be real careful, and I have to make sure that this is a statue that I really want, not only for space, but also the amount of money that I'm spending, because, I can't get every statue that I want. But again, the prices, if they continue to go up, I could see where, some people are just going to be completely pushed out of the market, or they might start going to really smaller scales. What do you think about it, Ian?
I actually don't think the bubble's going to burst. The bubble's going to change. It's going to go from half scale, or excuse me, from, the 1/4 scale to the half scale. Look, as long as the products keep getting better, and as long as there's a supply and a demand, the demand's so high for these statues right now, because look at them, they're awesome. I mean, these 1 1/3 or 1 1/3 prime ones that are coming out are unbelievable. People are going to find a way to pay for them no matter how much money they make. Let's say maybe they go out to dinner less so they can buy a statue more. It's not, the prices aren't so ridiculous. We're not talking about a car. We're talking about a statue. It's, it's kind of in between the too much money for an item, I guess you would say. It's not like a mortgage. It's not like a car, a mortgage, or something, so expensive that you can't afford it. It's a statue. If it's a couple $100 extra more, you can afford it. You can find a way to get that extra $100 or so for a statue. So I just don't think it's going to burst. Not yet, anyways. I mean, maybe somewhere down the line when people get tired of seeing the same characters. I don't know. We'll see.
I just want to say, has anyone seen, is this a coincidence or is this just me? Since Disney bought out Lucasfilm and Marvel, we've seen an increase in prices. maybe Disney is, because the size of Disney and because of the power they have, maybe they're just throwing the weight around more and it's costing more for these licenses. So basically companies are having to pay more for them because what they're going to do, not make any Marvel statues or Star Wars statues, and are they going to take the brunt of that cost? No, they're going to pass it on to us because they have shareholders like anybody else. So maybe
the crazy thing is that, you know, Disney, they paid $3 billion for Lucasfilm, for Star Wars, for the Indiana Jones franchise, and I don't even know what. Yeah, I don't even know what they spent for the Marvel franchise. I'm sure it's in the billions as well. So they're going to want. I
don't think with Marvel they paid a lot, because at the time when Disney bought Marvel, they had no film universe, they had no Marvel Studios, and their comics weren't doing particularly great. So I think they only paid I don't know for a fact, but I don't think they only paid sort of a couple million, which for Disney is chump change.
Yeah. But, I mean, if they have these licenses, they're going to want to get some of their money back, and why not?
Yeah.
I mean, that's smart business.
I think the biggest thing what's happened nowadays is because people want more Star Wars because of the new films. People want more Marvel because of the films. People now want more DC because of the films. Because the movies are so popular nowadays, it's kind of the licensors are going, well, we can charge more for the license. So Sideshow are having to pay more for the license to start with. What the Star Wars license was 3 or 4 years ago, before they'd started making Episode 7, is probably half of what it is now that 7 and Rogue One have been out and they've got Episode 8 coming. And obviously the same with Marvel. When they first started out with The Incredible Hulk didn't do too well. So as it's built up with Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man and everybody going along, because it's picked up more and more steam, more and more traction, they can charge more and more for the licenses because they know that people are going to want to make stuff of their products.
I think Iron Man actually came first. I think Iron Man came first, and then Incredible Hulk came second, just after.
I know Spider-Man is up there. I know Spider-Man has always been a high seller for merchandise.
But that's because that goes to Sony.
I think one major thing that I wish the statue companies would do, and it would maybe solve some of these problems, is to just be a little bit more open and honest about what the costs are. Because whenever they just do a blanket statement and say, well, our production costs are more now, and that's why it's $400 more than it was a year ago, I think that if they laid it out a little bit more, you know, it's like we have to pay a lot of money for the licensing, we have to pay money for this and this and this, and you don't have to go into that great a detail, but I think that would alleviate some of the frustration on the collector's end to say, okay, I get it now. They're being upfront with us of why the costs have gone up so much. I think that's just was simple, really.
But when you the big thing is where you look at the prices of some of their really good stuff and some of their not so good stuff. Like, look at DC's Deathstroke. It's not a particularly good piece. I know, Chris, you actually did a rant video on it about how it was just so underwhelming.
Yes.
It was more expensive than Killer Croc. Yeah. And when you look at Killer Croc, I mean, the amount of detail that's on Killer Croc, the amount of work that had to have gone into that, why make Deathstroke, which was so much more simple, so just the same price? Why not make it $50, $60, $70 less? Because, in theory, less work would have had to go into it.
Sorry, mate.
Go on. No, go on.
What upsets me is they jump on the bandwagon of a popularity of a character. Do you think Deadpool 4 years ago, this Heat Seeker would have sold or been as much as it actually was after the movie came out? No.
Absolutely not.
No. They jump on, like Doctor Strange, they jump on the popularity of a character and they ride that wave.
But you know what I noticed is I think they ride the waves of the success of other companies as well. I mean, that Deathstroke was released, I mean, it must have been, it felt to me like it was rushed. Like, they could have put so much more time and emphasis into it. But because Prime 1's Deathstroke was going out to customers, and collectors were getting them, and everybody was talking about how amazing the Prime 1 Deathstroke was, they basically just turned and said, well, we want a piece of that Deathstroke action. So we're going to fast forward our production, and we're going to just churn it out really quickly, just to try and capture the people that can't maybe afford the 1/3 scale, or missed out on it. That's what I think, anyways. And as far as like the secondary prices and the bubbles bursting, I think a lot of it comes down to like how many of one particular character there is. I mean, just look how many Wolverines there are now. And all that's going to inevitably do, because there's more choices, it's going to keep the prices lower. Except for, like, the proper old school, like, Holy Grail stuff. Like, try and find an exclusive OG Thor from Sideshow. You're just not going to find it cheap. Because it was just such a good piece and so well done. And that's going to bring us...
Go on, Johnny. Sorry. No, there's certain pieces where somebody the other day offered me really good money for my Thanos on Throne exclusive. Really good money. I turned it down purely because, do you know what? I'm going to have no problem selling that piece. If that piece... He's one of my favourite characters, so I'm probably not. But if that piece turned up and I didn't like it, do you really think I'm going to have a problem selling that? Do you really think I'm going to have a problem selling that exclusive on eBay or on the forum, the groups? That'll be gone within 10 seconds. So there is certain pieces where they're always going to be profitable. They're always going to be, you can actually make money on them, or you can at least make back what you've made on them. I think the only people that worry about a bubble bursting are the people that actually want to be able to sell stuff. I'm collecting to keep. I'm not bothered. Yeah. I'm collecting to keep. And the only time I would sell something is if when my room's full and I need some room. That's the only time I'm going to start selling stuff. If I need some room, I'm going to start getting rid of the weakest links. But I'm not looking to sell anything. Why would I? You spend all this time saving up, all this time waiting for it to turn up, and then you want to sell it. I just don't see it. And flippers... It's not a business I recommend, to be honest. I don't like flippers. I think Immortalized in Stone did quite a bit of segment on it the other day, and they were pretty thorough on it. I don't agree with flipping. I think that you should let the people. It's a bit like gig tickets, though. I don't agree with people touting gig tickets. I think, do you know what? There could be a little girl wanted to go see Ariana Grande or something, and you've robbed her of that because you want to sell a ticket for a ridiculous value. So
yeah. Well, I want to see Ariana Grande. Come on.
But Ian, they want to see her in concert, not the bedroom. Thank you very much.
Okay.
It's a good thing Rick's not here today.
Oh man.
Oh, Rick will be jumping on that.
Why is it that every single time we get together, the conversation just goes south so quickly? It must be Ian. I'm blaming Ian.
Yeah, it can't be Rick's, he's not here, so we're narrowing the search. We've just got to get one of the other guys.
It's got to be Ian. Either that or it's Richard, because Richard was the one that insinuated the way Ian wanted it.
Richard knows how I like it.
Ian, I burnt the photographs. We're not telling anyone about that night, so just can you...
Oh, thank God.
You did send them to me first, though.
Anyway, let's move on before people start unclicking.
Yeah, anyways. So you were talking about Thanos. Thanos on Throne. As far as I see it, I think Sideshow will be foolish to not make like an Infinity Wars version of Thanos, a maquette for Thanos from the Infinity Wars, to capitalize on the film.
It's coming.
It's going to happen. And that kind of brings us on to our next topic, and that is, why is there no love for some of the other characters? So let's be fair. How many Prime 1 Studios Batmans have we got now? How many Sideshow Batmans have we got now? How many Sideshow Iron Mans have we got now? So I want to put the question out there, and I'm going to ask Chris first. Why do you think we're not seeing some of the more obscure characters that we haven't seen before?
Well, first of all, let me correct you. There's never enough Batmans. So just keep that in mind from the Batman statue collector, okay?
I made a video about all the Batmans. Before they announced more, I was at 35 different Batmans. That's a lot of Batman.
I absolutely believe that. And it's really simple. Again, it kind of goes back to the first topic, money. These companies absolutely know that these are going to sell. Whenever you have a major franchise like Spider-Man, I mean, you can make 40 Spider-Mans. Everyone's going to sell because people love Spider-Man. People love Batman. And in my estimation, people like Batman more than Superman. So you don't see as many Supermans. But people in general, if you ask the general public and people that are not super statue geek people, they're going to say, I like Batman. And I see it all the time. So that's the reason why there are so many Batmans, because your non-traditional fans will also buy these products. I'm also on Instagram, and I'll post pictures of like Harley Quinn and some different characters that Prime 1 has done or Sideshow has done. And I'm amazed at the amount of attention those photos get from people that are not collectors of statues. So that tells me that, whoa, you know, these characters, they are very popular, and because of that popularity, they attract attention and they will sell very well. Now, I will say, on the other hand, I was really impressed with this year's Comic-Con and Wonderfest, like the Swamp Thing. You know, forever we see the same characters, but every once in a while, like with this con, I felt like, wow, there's actually an original character. I've seen some previews for like Ash, somebody from the Terminator. Who's the guy from the Terminator? From the first movie. They just previewed him too, and so I think that there will be glimmers of hope for some of these characters that we've wanted for a really long time. But in the end of the day, these statue companies are still going to do what's best for them, and they're still going to know to say, hey, I know that these are going to sell. I know people are going to like these. Some of them might be stinkers, like the legendary scale Batman, in my opinion. But so I'm sorry, Sideshow, that's a stinker. But I think that at the end of the day, again, they're going to still make them because they're going to sell. But I am optimistic that they're still going to do some of these obscure characters as well. What do you think about it, Ian?
I'm always questioning why they make so many Boba Fett's, but they have one
Boba Fett is awesome.
Yeah, Boba Fett is awesome, but are you telling me Emperor Palpatine isn't? I mean, he's the main bad guy in Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
They did make an Emperor Palpatine on throne, basically.
They did. How many years ago was that?
It was quite a long time ago. But I mean, what else can you really do with them? What else can you really do with Emperor Palpatine?
You can have him give me a diorama of him fighting Yoda. You know, give me a statue of him, having electric force lightning coming out of his fingers.
That would be cool.
Do something. I mean, you've done 18 Boba Fett's. You can do an Emperor Palpatine somewhere in between. That would be really nice. But I don't know.
What I get is they do like every single version of Stormtrooper as well.
Exactly.
Because they know people will buy a Stormtrooper. Why can't they? Where's Greedo?
Right.
Why haven't we got a Greedo?
Greedo would be sick.
He had about just as much screen time as Boba Fett. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and Greedo actually is one of the best scenes in Star Wars. Who shot first? So, I don't know.
I'm gonna say Greedo just to peel a lot of people off.
Anyways, yeah, I don't know. I think that they go around what they think is going to sell. If you have one Boba Fett, you probably are going to get more because you're a Boba Fett freak, and if you're a Boba Fett freak, then you want to freak out with Boba Fett. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. Who knows? What do you think, Rich?
Well, this sounds like a conversation. Me and Ian the other day had a conference call with somebody in the community that's well respected, that we love, that's Paul Gunderson, and he's like probably the biggest Star Wars nut that I know, and we had such a good conversation with him. And you want to keep watching this show, because in a couple of weeks, Paul Gunderson and his friend Rodney are going to be on the actual show, and I think they're going to be presenting, so that should be an amazing show, so keep an eye out for that one. As far as favoriting in characters, I went back and looked at, basically searched on Sideshow, because they have Prime 1 and other companies. I thought I'll look at how many Batmans there currently is under preview, currently is available, how many Jokers, Hulks, Iron Man and Wolverine. Because we can all admit Joker, Superman and Batman are probably the most done DC characters, and Wolverine, Hulk and Iron Man are probably the most done Marvel characters. They just are. They're probably done so many times. There's currently 33 Batmans available to buy or previewed on Sideshow.com. 33.
Does that include Hot Toys?
That includes everything that's available right now on Sideshow. There's 33 Batmans. This is either previewed or available to buy or pre-order now. There is 16 Iron Mans available at the minute. There's 12 Jokers, 7 Wolverines and 6 Hulks. Currently now available to pre-order or buy, or previewed. I think the one line that doesn't get any love, and I don't know if this is a licensing issue, XM are now starting to give it some love, which is nice to see, is X-Men. I think the X-Men line doesn't get enough love at all. I really don't. I don't think it gets any love from Sideshow, and I don't know if this is because they don't have the license for it, but...
No, Marvel put the stop on a lot of X-Men stuff a couple of years back because they wanted to get the films back. Because I know with XM's Cable, they had it, like, put it out, showed it to everybody, and then Marvel come down and went, no more X-Men, nothing at all. And then it got put on hold for, like, at least 2 to 3 years, I think it was. And then all of a sudden they were like, yep, we can do it now. They've given us the rights. And now they're churning out the X-Men. Because I think basically XM have just gone, well, we're going to do X-Men as long as we know we're allowed to do X-Men. So let's just get them out.
Well, what about Sideshow's the Phoenix? You know, the Jean Grey Phoenix. That's a great premium format to have. That's one of my favorites, actually.
But the only one we ever get is Phoenix. XM's putting another Phoenix out now, a Dark Phoenix. There's only certain characters they ever do. Wolverine. Wolverine's an X-Men. No, everyone forgets Wolverine's X-Men. He is. Wolverine's an X-Men. We get loads of Wolverine, but we never see a Cyclops. We've had a Colossus before. We have had a Colossus, but we never. When is anyone going to do a Professor X? Professor X always will.
XM have teased the Professor X.
What about Professor X on the throne?
Now you do get Magneto. You do
what
get
phone are you talking about, Ian?
you do get a lot of Magnetos. You do get a lot of Magnetos, and we've got a recent one which has got absolutely slated, and they're going back and working on it. Thank God, because I was looking forward to that piece so much, and it literally stunk up San Diego Comic Con. I could see people in the background thinking someone had farted. It was that bad.
Yeah,
it was
so
bad,
so I'm glad. Yeah,
but again,
listen.
That's what they said. That's the whole point, though. With regards to, I mean, why do a Magneto when you know you can't compete with XM's Magneto on Throne? You know you can't compete with their new white Magneto. Why don't you make Nightcrawler? You know,
yes, thank you.
People are going to love a Nightcrawler.
I would love it. That's my favorite X-Men character, and I would love to see a Nightcrawler movie. I know a lot of people don't want to see a Nightcrawler movie, but I think you could do a Nightcrawler movie like a Dark Knight type style. You know, the really dark. He lives in a cathedral. You know, he screws up bad guys who walk into the cathedral. Just messes with them. Give me a Nightcrawler statue, and while you're at it, make the damn movie.
But I know there's a Nightcrawler custom. But the custom statue, I mean, you're going to get, what, 25, 30, maybe 40 pieces for an edition size? You need a big company to go, right, we're going to make this, and we're going to make this big, we're going to make this bold, because it's a character that's never been done before. I mean, just look at Sideshow's Lady Deadpool. Yes, okay, probably not the most popular of characters, but just the fact that they took the initiative to make a character that nobody's ever seen done before, it got a lot of attention. Same with Swamp Thing. You know, it doesn't take a lot. I mean, Sideshow do so much nowadays. They have so much coming out. I mean, they've always got a Predator. They've always got an Alien. There's always a Terminator. There's always a Wolverine. There's always an Iron Man. So they have the ability. They have the financial backing to go, you know what? We're going to make Mysterio. He's a popular character, but they've not done him. Doctor Strange. They've not made Doctor Strange either, because I don't even know why they haven't bothered to make a Doctor Strange.
I want a Benedict Cumberbatch Doctor Strange. They've got to make it. Seriously, I want a Benedict. If you're listening to Sideshow, make Benedict Cumberbatch Doctor Strange. Because I nearly pulled the trigger on the Hot Toys today, and I stopped because I thought they've got to bring out a quarter scale premium format, because it is begging
I'm tempted to get that Hot Toys no matter what, because that Hot Toys looks so good. And no matter what, Sideshow are not going to get the face anywhere near as close as what Hot Toys
Well, it's
does.
Available to buy now and ship now, Johnny, on Sideshow, so get on it.
I'm broke.
Well, let me ask you guys a question, though. Do they maybe they make these characters over and over again because they have the materials left over to make it again? You know, maybe they have the same paint colors, you know, the same mixed media, so they can go from making one statue and have all the materials from that statue and go to make another one really quick. I mean, just an idea.
I think it's more a licensing issue again. You think about the Red Sonja. Now, 3 Red Sonjas in that short space of time is very unusual. Now, they may have had a licensing deal that says they have to release so many Red Sonjas within so much time, else the license gets revoked. That's the only way I can see why they make that many Red Sonjas in such a space of time. Now, the one statue I want to see and I hope XM see this, because this would be an amazing statue, is a Banshee from X-Men. And I want him flying, and I want the clear resin breath going from the floor up to his mouth, which is holding him up. Get that made. I want a Banshee. I want it done. I want a Banshee. And I want a Shazam as well.
Do you actually think they would make it with clear resin, though? Because, I mean, let's be fair, that Quicksilver was terrible. They could have easily done the back end of that Quicksilver in clear resin, and they didn't.
But you're not having a character moving as part of the motion. You're having just his breath, aren't you? So it might still work. So it's whether it could hold up a statue, though, because there won't be any rods with it being clear resin. So.
Well, I've got a video coming out next week on the top 5 statues that I want to see made, and
nice.
It's going to be some really good statues in there. So I've already filmed it. It's set to record, so it'll probably be out before this video comes out. But I hope you guys watch it.
It's just all it is 5 even more naked slans. That's all it is.
It is. It's just different versions of them. You know, I want a version in my room, a version in my house, in my bedroom. You know, I want the premium, the slan in my bathroom.
Man, Ian's gonna be in so much trouble.
Because your wife is your wife is not gonna be happy if she hears that.
She'll not be happy if she doesn't hear it. So you might as well let her hear it.
Hey, whatever. I'm going all out today.
You know what? Just quickly, Chris, you're a huge Batman fan. What Batman character do you want to see made that hasn't been done yet?
Probably my personal top one. I guess Prime One has done. Prime One has done Two-Face.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Penguin.
Oh, Penguin. Yeah. Really, Penguin. I would say Two-Face or Ra's al Ghul. I'd love to see any of those, or even like a Clayface, or just there's so many things that companies could do. And I'm just amazed that they haven't been made yet. Like that just blows my mind.
That's the thing that gets me the most.
Danny DeVito Penguin, get it bloody made already. Yeah. Come on now, Danny DeVito Penguin, seriously? Are you waiting for the licensing?
They made that Michael Keaton premium format. It would go perfect with it.
And don't you guys think that those characters, you were mentioning some of these other guys that you were wanting to have made, but don't you think the Rogues Gallery, probably the general public, knows better than anybody else? I mean, absolutely. They know Penguin, they know Two-Face, maybe not as Two-Face as much, but they know Penguin for sure. They know
Riddler.
Yeah, I mean,
where's the Riddler?
Right. I mean, these are things that blow my mind, because they transcend the general collector. It's pop culture. They know them way better than some of these other minor characters. So why they haven't done those characters, especially, because to me that's printing money. Because people know those characters, they've loved them for a really long time. Because Batman's been around for so long. But I know that some of the X-Men characters and some of the Marvel characters have been too, but they're just not as well known.
I bet you Sideshow's got them coming. I mean, they did just release Killer Croc and Bane, so maybe they're going in stages. Give me a ventriloquist.
Yeah, I think so.
I want premium format ventriloquist would look dope.
Be an instant buy for me. It would be.
And it could be a creepy-ass statue.
Dave Igo did say on Sideshow Live that they were going to be doing another male Batman villain that they were working on. So at least we're going to get one more. I don't know who it'll be, but
that's cool.
Fingers crossed.
Well, I would put money on it either being Penguin or Riddler.
Yeah,
I hope so. I hope you're right.
But what gets me is you get ones. I'm going to talk about Hot Toys, because they've actually shown 3 or 4 different ones that I know would sell well. I know people want, because I've been in a lot of the 1/6 communities, and they're all asking, why did they get canned? So they showed Yellow Jacket to go with Ant-Man, and that was like 3 years ago, and nobody's ever seen a damn thing of it. They showed the Ancient One to go with Doctor Strange. That would have been an amazing figure. And then they also, I don't think they actually ever showed this piece, but at Secret Base in Hong Kong, I believe, they set out a display ready for Logan. And nobody ever saw anything. What I don't get is does it come down to licensing? Do they make them, put them to the licensors, and they go, we don't want you to make that? Or does it come down to the fact that they just don't believe they would sell? Because I have a hard time thinking that Hot Toys wouldn't sell Logan really, really well. So I'm unsure with it. I think a lot of it comes down to, I think sometimes the companies don't want to take the risk. I think Prime One are taking a lot of risks at the moment because they have so much hype surrounding them. XM, I mean, yeah, but look at XM. XM made Mysterio. They're making Scorpion. They've made
Sandman.
Lizard. So exactly. They've Vulture. All these kind of characters that people have wanted statues for so long, and we've only just got them now because some company's gone out there and gone, nobody else has made them, so let's make them. They've capitalized on an open market because there is nothing out there for people that are Scorpion fans, that are Mysterio fans. So we are going to move on to our next topic, and we're going to talk about premium art prints. And with that, we're going to talk about whether or not we think they're a good investment, whether or not we would prefer to have our own custom-made paintings, because it's so easy to get private commission paintings nowadays. If you go on our Collectrbaz website, we actually have a couple of painters that you can hit up to get private paintings done to go with your collection. So I'm going to throw this one straight to Ian and see what he has, because I know he likes his art prints.
I love art prints. I think they really bring out the collection. You know, when you have a good art print behind your statue, it just adds to the story of the statue. Now, the prints that I see online with the statues, I like the artwork. I really do. And I know Sideshow is in agreement with Alex Ross to sell some of his artwork right now. And the artwork is phenomenal. Here's what I don't like about it. You can buy it framed, and the frames aren't good. It's just a general frame that you're paying a lot more for. And it's not museum glass. So you get a good glare. You get a good glare. Yeah. You get a good glare on the artwork. Me, I get everything customly framed because to me, framing is an artwork in itself. So it's almost like 3 steps. You know, you get the print, which is a piece of artwork. You get the frame, which is an artwork, and then you put it next to a statue. That's an artwork, and it just looks fabulous. I'll tell you what, MJ Hiblin, Mark Jacob Hiblin, I work with quite a bit. The guy posts things on my Facebook group page all the time. I bought the Old Man Carl from him. I just bought the Precipice Vader piece from him. His artwork looks phenomenal, and he has nothing to do with Sideshow. But he can actually draw you something and make you a piece of art that goes better with the statues than what you see on Sideshow. So it really depends. Do you like that piece of artwork that's on sale at Sideshow? Then go ahead and grab it. I know that the Hulk and Wolverine, that print looks fabulous behind the Hulk versus Wolverine statue. But, you know, you have options. You don't have to get the one that's for sale at Sideshow, for example. And if you do, I would definitely highly recommend just getting the print. Don't get the framed art. It's not worth it. Take it to a customized framing store. Get it framed. You know, spend the extra money because it really brings it out more. What do you think, Chris?
When Sideshow first started doing all these art prints, at the very beginning, I wasn't really all that impressed. I just didn't think that the art was as good as it could be. And I feel like as the years have progressed, I feel like it's a lot better now. And I think that, and this is just my personal taste, I really like when the statue looks like the art print. You know, I like when it reflects that. A lot of the early ones, you know, like they might have had the Batman premium format, but then the Batman one to go with it looked nothing like that one. And so I do kind of like, you know, like the Huntress one they just premiered this week, where Huntress is in the background, and but she looks like the statue. I really like that. I think it's really cool because the art is what inspired the statue. And I think that that's a neat story to tell. But I absolutely love the look of the art behind the statue. I wish, like in my Batcave, because I have those angled ceilings, I wish I could do more with art because I love the way the colors pop, especially off of a black frame. I love that. And so I'm always very jealous of a lot of collectors out there. And a lot of the prints are great, but like you guys said too, I really like a lot of the custom stuff. Like Richard, the stuff that you're going to have in your collection looks amazing. And it's really cool because to me, it's a little bit more personal because you actually know the artist. You were able to get the art from him and describe what you were wanting. And I think that's really special and adds a whole new depth to your collection. Why don't you talk a little bit about that, Richard?
I like the Sideshow art prints. I'll start with that. I think the markup on frames is ridiculous. It's usually average $90 for a print. They probably cost $10 to make. Not even kidding. They probably cost $10 to make, if that. They've probably got a really decent printer. They've bought a bulk of paper and they've got them printed. They cost $90. Then you've got the frames. If you add the markup on them, it's $140 for that frame, which is ridiculous. And then if you think about the artists as well, Alex Ross stuff goes for a lot more. Think about, and also the bigger pieces. You think about that double Avengers one. It was $500 with a frame for the Cap and the Iron Man one as one big thing. That is ridiculous. $500. To put that in perspective, it's probably nearly as much as I paid for everything in this room. I'm not a big print guy as far as getting posters and prints and stuff. I like stuff that's got a bit more personality, a bit more soul. So I found a guy on Etsy. Is it Etsy? I think that's how you pronounce it. I liked his work. He had some Cap stuff up and some Marvel stuff, and I collect Marvel. So I asked him for a private commission, and the first private commission I saw, which you probably saw in episode 2, was the Thanos one, which comes from the Infinity War. And he did that for me, and I was so blown away by it that I literally just kept ordering stuff from him. So as you can see behind me now, I've got the Ant-Man there, and he's done all the ants. This is all canvas. This is basically acrylic paint on canvas. And what he does is he does all the paint work first, and then he does the line art on top. And this is Ant-Man. And then on this side, I've got a Doctor Strange, which he'd already done. This wasn't a custom piece. He'd already done this, and I basically said I want to snap it up. And this was a Doctor Strange. And I have literally about 14 pieces of artwork from him in this room. I went a bit mad, yeah. I've got a Thor, an Iron Man. I got a Wolverine, Hulk, Cap. I've got a Thanos, a Hulk transformation, which I got from one. I think it's Hulk 101 cover. And he's actually got 2 free waiting for me. I've got to go pick up at the end of the month. He's got me the Hulk versus Wolverine from the, I think it's Hulk 1 or something cover. He's got me a Silver Surfer, and he's got me a Daredevil to go down there. And I think it's cost me about $700 for it all, for about 14, 15 pieces of artwork. And they're all custom, and so these are like 30 inch by 40 inch. That's 24 by 18 there, 30 centimeters by 40 centimeters, and there's 4 of them, 2 18 by 24, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 30 by 40 inch canvases. And it cost me about $700 when that cost you $500 for one print. Do you know what I mean? And do you know what? This guy, I've just been on holiday to Centre Parks in UK. It's like a sort of holiday retreat, and he was there, and we had a 3-hour conversation. And he's such a nice guy, and what he used the money that I gave him for was really amazing. And you're helping out actual people. So go and find people who you think these are amazing artists, and get your own thing done. You don't have to think about, oh, I'm gonna stick to these premium art prints because that's all I've got to offer. There's so many talented people that will put better use of that money. So many talented people that have got passion in an art. And I'll go to Collectorverse. There's a couple of artists on there. BECARTBYBAZ, who did mine, he's on there. And he's actually doing one for Ian at the minute. He's doing a Walking Dead for Ian at the minute, and I've seen it, and it's ridiculous. What do you think about that, Ian, at the minute? What have you seen?
I am so excited to get this. Oh my gosh, the pictures that he's sending me, the paint just pops out. It's, purple. It's like a pinkish color. I cannot wait to have the review on it for Baz. And also too, the guy was so good and so nice. I tipped him a good amount. So anybody who's watching this, reach out to him. Let him know that you want a piece, because the artwork is phenomenal. Really great job.
You can basically take any image you want. Like, I've sent him stuff where it's like ridiculously hard, and he'll turn it into a canvas, and it's all by hand. I mean, obviously the prices vary, but I'm going to fill you in on a few of the prices these cost so you can see how much of a good steal it is. That Thanos cost me, I think it was £100 for that Thanos for the 30 inch. The Hulk cost me 120. This cost me 120. This cost me 60, I think it was. It's not dear things to buy. And if you think about it, we've just been talking about prices of statues, how much it actually costs. I think these make more impact than statues would in my room. And now it is like a complete art gallery in here. And I'm so happy with it. It's vibrant. So look at your options. You don't have to stick to Sideshow. I'm not knocking Sideshow, by the way, if Sideshow's watching. I'm not knocking you. I'm not knocking your premium prints. I get it. But I like what XM do. they give you a print with the actual statue. And if I got any of them XM pieces, those prints would be going up because they are amazing. And they give you an amazing print with it. So, I mean, Jonny, what do you think? I know you've just got a print canvas in from Baz as well. We're kind of plugging Baz now.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, we love Baz because he's amazing. As you may have been able to tell by the fact that 3 out of 4 of us already have work from him or are getting work from him. This Deadpool that I have right here, that came from him. I actually didn't even have anything to do with Baz when I got it. Literally, me and Richard were talking. We were talking about everything that was going on, and he showed me some of the stuff that he had, and I went, wow, that's amazing. I'd really love a Deadpool at some point. And then all of a sudden, this picture just pops up with this print, and it's like, he just did this one. I was like, oh, wow, how much is that? He's like, 45 quid? What does that work out, like $60, $70?
Yeah, $60 about that.
It's about that, and you know, what I like about it is unique. It is hand-drawn, it is one of a kind, signed by him at the bottom. Everything that you get from him or from a custom painter is all hand done. You're never going to get one that's exactly the same as the other because you're always going to get indiscrepancies with the art. Now, with regards to the sideshow stuff, I like the sideshow art prints. I think like Chris said, the Huntress, it's exactly the same as the Huntress statue, so it would look really nice behind it on the wall. Same with the Thanos print. Same with the Black Cat print. All these ones that have been coming out recently. Even the Red Sonja print that came out with it. But I do agree with what Richard said with regards to, XM put that print with it. So why wouldn't the Sideshow put it with it? And the one thing that bugs me the most is, like they've all said, the framing on Sideshow stuff isn't the best. It's not like Ian said, museum grade. It's not like blows it out of the park with how nice this frame is. And Sideshow know that, so they put the print up for sale, framed only to start with. And that's what really bugs me, because if you really want it, you have to buy it with a frame. So you're going to get people that don't want it framed, but are going to worry that they're going to miss out on it, pay the extra money to get it framed, get it turned up, then take it out of the frame and get their own frame put on it. They're going to spend stupid amounts of money. And what I like with regards to getting the private stuff done is you are in complete control of what it is you're getting. And I think hand-done, hand-painted, hand-drawn art just brings an extra level to any kind of collection. I am a huge, huge Dragon Ball Z fan. As soon as I picked up this print, the first thing I wanted was for him to make me a Vegeta. I absolutely love him. He's my favourite character of anything at all. I am going to do absolutely everything I can so at some point I own the Sumarts Margin Vegeta, and I want a big, big Margin Vegeta canvas put right behind him. I know Sideshow's never going to make that character because they don't even do anime full stop. So the ability to be able to go to somebody and say, look, this is what I want, this is how I want it done, can you do it for me? And they go, yeah, it's fine. And you don't have to pay stupid amounts of price because you're not paying a company to pay an artist to do it for you. You cut out the middleman. And that's the thing that I like the most, is the fact that you can go and find... Facebook has made it so easy to be able to just go and find anybody, see the artwork, like it, and go, that's who we want. And the Collectorverse made it even easier because the artwork, the artists that we have on the Collectorverse specifically deal in the kind of stuff you're going to want to go with your collection. I'm most certainly going to be looking at speaking to Baz in the near future and getting a very large Margin Vegeta print done to replace my, where is it, Hulk that's here. I'm going to get that replaced because as much as I love that, it was a cheap canvas print that I got, I think it was like £20 from a local, I think it was Tesco's, from a local store. It's nice, it's good. It served its purpose when I first got my own place and I was looking for some art. I've got Hulk, Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Captain America. I've got 4 of them, and I've got a big Avengers one. But inevitably, as I've got older, they've started to wear out a bit because they're a couple of years old because they were cheap. I would really love some real good quality artwork. And like I said, as much as the premium art prints are good, unless you are dead set on having it look exactly like the statue you've got, then I would say go custom every single day. Anybody else got anything they want to add?
Yeah, there's some. Just go to Etsy. Do you know what? There's so many custom people on there, and I bet if you contacted them, just like I did, and said, "I love your work, but can you do me a custom?" they would say, "Yeah." There's a guy who posts on the groups. I don't know if you guys know his name. He does like the hand penciled stuff, and then he basically does the sort of did a Thanos, and he's done loads of stuff, and he's on Etsy, and he does it all by pencil and then sells prints of it. And you know what? I think his prints are about $50. And they are on the same paper as Sideshow, they're the same size as Sideshow, and they cost $40 less. And they're done by, they're done by hand. And he does sell the originals for a bit more, I think. But just go and find people. Do you know what? The internet has made it so easy to find anyone, no matter what part of the world they land in. So
and that's the big thing, is being able to cut out the middleman. Because how much per print Sideshow are going to pay their artist to do that is going to be nowhere near what they're then charging us for. I think that's about it. I think we've covered everything for the art prints. So we're going to move on to our final topic. And this one is a bit of a controversial one. We're going to be talking about statue and figure bases, and why for some reason they seem to just be getting bigger and bigger and more extravagant, and in the end, more difficult to display. So I am going to pass that over to Richard and see what his thoughts are on that.
It's all about the base, too much trouble. That's what it's about, me.
Somebody had to make that.
I was going to do it if you weren't.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it.
I probably did it better than you two idiots anyway. So. The problem with bases is the problem with displays. Bases are only relative if they're a problem with the displays that people can actually get. Now, I've seen some collection rooms we've talked about before that are like mansions, and I'm sure they can afford massive displays, but the average person is going to be using Bestas or Detofs. That's pretty much it. They're going to be using Bestas, Detofs, or packs. They're going to be using some kind of IKEA, the average collection. Now, you think about a couple of XM pieces recently, the Nemo, that is ridiculous. I've actually got the measurements here for it, and it is 67 centimeters deep and 63 centimeters wide. 63 centimeters wide. You think about that, a Besta is, everyone thinks a Besta is 6 centimeters wide. It's not, you've got the edges. It's 58.5 centimeters wide. It's got a depth of 36.4 centimeters and a height of 60.4. Now, a couple of XM pieces, the Sandman is 40 centimeters deep, which is too big for a Besta, and 55.5 centimeters width, which would just fit in. The Lizard is 49 centimeters deep and 47. Now, I think that's more the tail than the base, but they are getting bigger. And the Ditoff, you've got no chance of the depth of that. It's even less than a Besta. Actually, it's 33.02 and 38.93 wide. So, I think companies want to produce more. They want to give statue collectors what they want. They want to say, look at this amazing base. It's got all this stuff on. The Bane that's just come out. I know it's a big piece and it's got an amazing base, but I don't think it's that deep. I mean, can anyone who's got it fill me in on actually how deep it actually is, Chris? You know?
It is a giant base, but I don't think it is as deep as the Killer Croc. That's just my opinion. The Killer Croc, it goes back so far, and it's actually really hard for me to fit it in the case right because it goes back so deep. But the Bane one, it's just big. I would say the base is probably as big, or if not a little bit bigger than the Catwoman base. But it doesn't go too deep, but it is really round.
Put it this way. When I designed this room, I could have had another 4 column of Bestas there, like full stacks. I could have had them all the way across the wall. I wanted to be able to have the artwork there, but I decided then to just have half Bestas so that I can actually have the top cap part, so I can put statues on there that are too big to get in a Besta. So basically I've planned ahead and created a section that I can fit 5 or 6 statues on that are too big to get in Bestas or Detoffs. Purely because I know that this is where the trend's going, because there's going to be statues that I can't get in. And I've heard so many stories of people angling stuff and talking about, I mean, whenever you hear it, I mean, Alex from Rad Titan, I always hear him, I always hear him say, yeah, he ain't fitting a Besta. Because I was like, he's like catchphrase or something. But I like detail. I like a detailed base, but come on, people have got to display these. We don't all live in massive houses. So just keep the base detail, but keep it smaller than usual. I don't think every character needs to have a massive base. But I think it's probably down to the fact that there's so many companies now doing so many statues. Everyone's trying to outdo themselves. Everyone's trying to beat the other guy. Everyone's trying to be the best statue company that there is. There's no monopoly anymore. It's kind of an open market at the minute. I mean, Chris, you've got a lot of statues. You've got a lot of 1/3, a lot of 1/4. I know you have an open collection, so it's a bit easier to actually display yours. You must spend half your life dusting, but it's still easier to display yours. But
It is.
Fill me in on what you think.
Well, for one thing, I think the Prime 1 really changed the game by going to 1/3. Because people were really blown away by the amount of detail they were able to put into that scale. And I am one of those. I am just absolutely blown away. I am lucky that I have the ability to display my stuff, open air. And yes, it does take a while to dust. I probably do it once a week. But I did that out of necessity because I have 2 small children. And so I was able to find a space that allowed me to do that. But in a normal circumstance, I would have to try to fit it into something. And I used to have all of my stuff in my basement. And that's where our big family room is with our big TV and everything. Actually, it's this room right here. And I used to have everything that was behind plexiglass. But we spent a lot of time down here, so we're always worried about, something breaking, and that's basically why I switched to the other room and why I was able to go to open air. But I do feel like Prime 1, again, they changed the game to a point where, their bases are detailed, they have these big giant pieces, and then the next company says, oh my gosh, we have to do this big giant detail, we have to make these bases more, intricate, and I just think it's just a giant competition to say who's going to have the better statue at the end of the day. And really, I think just the sizes in general have been really popular.
Chris.
Yeah.
Chris, can I just ask you a question? You're a big Prime 1 guy.
Yes.
How much is a normal sort of 1/3? It's about $1,000, $900, yeah?
Yeah, they're anywhere from $900 to $1,000, yeah.
So, would you pay another $2,500 for a horse?
Me?
Because let's be fair, that Wonder Woman on a horse, you're buying it because it's Wonder Woman. So basically, that gigantic base and that gigantic horse is still part of the base. I mean, it's about the prices that the bases are kind of bringing them up by as well. I mean, you're going to pay a stupid amount. I mean, nobody's going to buy a 1/3 scale horse on its own.
Right.
Unless you've got a major horse fetish. But people want it because it's Wonder Woman. People want it because it's Wonder Woman. So I was trying to be serious, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
I've never heard of a horse fetish, but I know that there's a lot of people out here, especially in Southern California, with donkey fetishes. So I don't know.
Well, I live in the countryside in England. Trust me, there are people.
Where is Rick, by the way?
I can't wait till he watches this and we've just outed him about having a horse fetish.
Oh god.
But really,
classic.
really, you are exactly right though, because you are paying a lot of money for that horse, and basically the horse is the base. So you're exactly right. And no, I wouldn't pay $2,000 more for that. No, absolutely not.
Hey, I'll tell you what. You know what? Bases make or break a statue for me. They really do. 2 of my top 5 premium format sideshow bases or statues, I would say the top 5, 2 of the top 5 is what I'm trying to say. Sorry, I'm like totally messing up my words today.
Does he think about horses?
Yeah,
now?
I know. Well, I got my pants off, so.
Oh.
All right, so
Oh.
so 2 of my shit. 2 of my top favorite. 2 of my top favorite premium formats don't have very many bases. I'm gonna click off Jonny because he's messing me up. 2 of my top 5 premium format bases are very simple. Okay, the Darth Maul base. It really is no base. It's just a black slab. And if you guys don't stop laughing, I'm going to have to stop.
We're going to see if Ian can get louder this next one. Go one more time, louder.
2 of my top 5 bases. All right.
Okay.
2 of my top 5 bases. 2 of my top 5 bases are the Joker. Shit. Can you edit this, Richard?
Oh, it's all left in, baby. It's all left in.
Oh, God, there's snot coming out of my nose. Okay.
Go on.
Oh, God.
Take 15. 2 of my top 5 bases are the Joker Premium Format, which is a pretty simple base. It has nice color, but it's not very big at all. And then another one is the Darth Maul. It has the black slab that he's just kind of standing on. It's not very dynamic. To me, though, it really brings out the characters more, having less of a base sometimes. You know, so, but then again, when you look at, you know, the Killer Croc base, I really like the Killer Croc base. I love the Bane Premium Format base. And those Sideshow bases are crazy good. I don't like how they use the same bases for Deathstroke as they did as the Batman Noel. Some people like that, but the bases are too similar. I wish they would have changed them up a little bit. So, I don't know. Sometimes a base can be too much, but just having nothing as a base looks really good. You know, it really brings out the Darth Maul and the Joker for me. So, it just depends on what the sculpt of the statue looks like. So, I don't know. Either way, just make it good, whatever way you do it.
I just want to piggyback onto that Joker, because when they first started coming out with that DC line, all of the bases were just simple, round bases. And I think they're all pretty much round, like even the Killer Croc, even though it's half. They've kind of stuck to that round theme, but it was just so simplistic, like you said, and it was so small, and it didn't take up very much room. So whenever I was designing my case, I thought I could fit like 20 of these in there, that it makes it really difficult to try to display them all together.
Well, even that Catwoman is pretty simple. It almost seems to be the same size as the Joker.
Well, the Harley Quinn one was, but the Catwoman was actually quite a bit bigger.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Her legs are spread apart. That one particularly takes up...
Was that your best Joker impression?
I got some Joker impressions. Just wait till Halloween. Anyways, so... Yeah.
Jonny, what do you think?
Oh, God. Okay. Now we've come back from the chaos.
2 of my favorite premium format.
I thought we'd got out of the chaos. I was wrong. Right. So I like a good base, as long as it kind of relates and doesn't overpower the statue. I think. Stop laughing.
Oh.
What the hell are you guys?
I'm so sorry, guys.
We had a good run, 3 episodes, you know, it was good.
We managed to get... No, in all fairness, we got through 2 episodes. Because I'm pretty sure this 4th one, after last week's one, is the last one we are doing.
Well, it really took a lot of time to adjust without Rick here. But now that we've adjusted a little bit, we've let loose.
That's right.
We've gone back into chaos and filth again.
But we can't blame Rick now for it. Every episode we blame Rick for the chaos, and he's not here, so now he's off the hook.
No, it's his fault.
We'll find somebody else to blame.
It's all Rick's fault, anyways.
Anyways, let's try and stay back on topic. With bases, I like a base as long as it doesn't overpower the figure. Now, the XM's Namor with that giant octopus, I think it overpowers the figure. I think they could have done Namor more subtly and made more of Namor and less of a giant octopus. I genuinely think they could have done more. But then you get like the opposite end of the scale. You look at Sideshow's Jean Grey premium format that they released a couple years back. It was literally just Jean Grey stood on a black disc with the X on it. You need to find a middle ground between it. And I think Prime 1 in particular, other than Wonder Woman on horse, has managed to find the middle ground. Like their New 52 line, they make a lot of the base, but it doesn't detract away from the character. It kind of adds more to the character. Like I'm gonna go back to Berserk because they've been one of my favorite Prime 1 pieces to look at. their guts. Yeah, he stood atop of all these just absolutely decapitated like monsters or apostles, as they're called in the anime, and it's a big like point of focus. You see all the stuff, but it doesn't take away from the character. And I don't think it makes it that much harder to display. Yeah, it makes the base bigger, but other than, okay, I don't think he's going to fit size, like height-wise, but I think width and sort of depth-wise, you're probably still going to be able to get him in a Besta. But the big thing that got me recently, and this was the Pop Culture Shock Green Ranger. Now, they showed it off with that big Dragonzord tail, and it looked amazing, and I really, really liked it, and I thought, okay, brilliant. This is going to come up, what, maybe $600, $650? It came in at $1,000. And the regular version, where he's not on the Dragonzord and he's just on the standard power coin, is $500. So you are paying double the amount of what the regular costs just for a base. And I genuinely think that that is too much. I think you need to find a middle ground between excessiveness to try and make more of the statue and nothing at all. Because I'm now at the point where I want that Green Ranger. I can't afford the big Dragonzord tail. And not only that, it is 79 centimeters wide. That is 31 inches. That is not going to fit in most places. Not very many Bestas are going to fit that in. And you're going to have it out on the top. And if you don't like having them out and exposed to the air and having to deal with dusting, in particular, that one's going to be a pain to dust because there's a lot of like little nooks and crannies and the water effect. It's all stuff places dust can get into, and you want that sealed away. But I just think it's too big. And it makes the piece, but I think it makes the piece very difficult to display as well. So I want to see a middle ground. I like the fact that Sideshow are doing more with their bases, like Bane with the bat signal. I think that's an absolutely brilliant base. It adds to Bane without taking away from himself. And that's what I'm really liking, and I want to see more of that. Where it's not over the top, like Wonder Woman on horse, but it's not really, really bland like that Jean Grey premium format. So anybody else got anything to add? Nothing filthy.
I want to see Sideshow go away from rock. I'm fed up of seeing statues on rock bases. I want to see something different.
Yeah.
Put them on AstroTurf. Put them on a giant marshmallow for all I give a crap. Just put them on something different. So
yeah,
that's it.
Like in particular with like the Iron Man, it's always like a broken bit of concrete or a broken bit of tarmac with maybe like a little bit of like electronics or machinery to the side of him. It's always the same thing as well.
You know who does a good job with their bases is Kota Bakuya. The Iron Man Kota Bakuyas have some fabulous bases, and they change them up. They're not always concrete. There's one Kota Bakuya statue where Iron Man's coming onto the water, and the water's like splitting apart as he's landing on the water. That was my impression right there. But
is that their fine art line?
Yes.
Yeah, their fine art line is really good. I really want their vision where he's like his foot is phasing through the base.
Yep.
Of like broken girders and stuff like that. I think that's just so
That is
cool.
awesome.
And this is what I'm saying with regards to having bases that make more of the statue, make more of the character as opposed to detracting from the character. I think the horse on Wonder Woman on horse is going to detract away from Wonder Woman. I think the octopus detracts away from Namor on XM's piece. So they need to find a middle ground. That's really where I'm going with it. So I think that is it for the Collectbybaz. This has been episode 4. I've been Jonny from Seraphims Liverpool. They've been all the other guys. We've got Richard again, Collectro, Ian from the ID Collector series, and Chris, the Batman statue collector. We all thank you very much. And Rick. Rick, as much as he's not been here, we do miss him. We would have loved to have him on the show today because I'm sure as it descended into chaos again, he would have had plenty to say.
And we have extra members and we have extra people coming on in the near future. We've got quite a few people that are scheduled to come on the actual show, so keep an eye out for those. Can't wait to actually have other people to discuss stuff with. We have plenty
of special guests to come on the show in the near future, and we could not be more excited to see how this goes and how waiting to see just how big Collectorverse grows compared to just where it is now. And we thank you ever so much for all the support you guys have given us so far, and thank you for going to the site. We appreciate all of your support.
Absolutely.
Cool. See you next week.
That's good.
See ya. Bye.